The Murray-Darling Basin Authority broke the law and acted with gross negligence as it developed a plan to save the nation's largest river system. That's among the scathing findings of a royal commission released today in South Australia. It accused the authority of maladministration and unlawful actions and says the authority was influenced by politics rather than science when it decided the amount of water to recover from the river system. Among 44 recommendations, the Commission wants a complete overhaul of the basin plan, which would take more water from irrigators to give back to the environment. State and federal governments say they'll consider the findings, but they're committed to the basin agreement. Leah, MacLennan begins our coverage.
As an environmental disaster is unfolding in the Lower Darling, a Royal Commission has thrown the book at the body responsible for governing the river system. Commissioner Bret SC found the Murray-Darling Basin Authority has shown itself to be unwilling or incapable of acting lawfully in its administration of the basin plan.
We haven't broken the law. Everything we've done has been legal, and I'd reject any of those assertions.
The key issue is how much water the plan should return to the environment. The Royal Commission ruled that decision was made taking social and economic concerns into account, saying this was not a scientific determination, but rather one made by senior management and the authority's board, an unlawful approach that amounts to maladministration. A criticism quickly brushed off by the federal government.
Now, this is the biggest environmental program of our nation's history, and we've got everybody to agree to it. This is a monumental achievement.
You don't get really a more serious allegation against any government agency than to say it has acted unlawfully and deplorably.
The Royal Commission recommends a complete overhaul of the plan, preferencing water buybacks over efficiency measures and taking climate change into account. In the midst of drought, that assessment is likely to cause angst in farming communities along the basin.
The buybacks that have already occurred have been quite detrimental. They're going to show their effects pretty hard in years of limited water allocation.
The Royal Commission refutes that, saying the negative impacts have either been overstated or do not exist. The findings are damning, but the question is, will anyone listen? The Royal Commission was enacted under a former South Australian government, and the new one seems to have little appetite for another water fight.
South Australia will be the loser if people start ripping up the original plan. There is always a danger if you start to go back to the drawing board and start to negotiate that we actually lose where we are at the moment.
The risk is other states might walk away from the plan, something the Royal Commissioner finds would raise complex constitutional questions. Leah, MacLennan, ABC News, Adelaide.
Queensland stakeholders have expressed frustration over the South Australian report. They say another state is commenting on the impact of water buybacks in small farming communities thousands of kilometres away. Towns like St George and Dirranbandi in southern Queensland say they've suffered enough from losing water.
We've had enough buybacks up here, and any more water buybacks up here would have a significant effect on us.
I find those comments abhorrent, disgusting and totally insulting. What our community has been through is very evident.
Queensland communities are inviting the South Australian Government and the Royal Commissioner to come and visit their towns to see for themselves.